Welcome to this deep dive. We're tackling a topic you all requested, the concept of chosen ones.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. We'll be dissecting this article called Five Things Chosen Ones Do Unconsciously, but 100% spiritually gifted,
Okay.
to see what insights we can extract. Now, I'm going in with a totally open mind, ready to see if any of this resonates with you, the listener.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what they have to say.
Are you ready to explore this with me?
I'm absolutely ready.
Awesome.
It is interesting, though, how this chosen one archetype pops up, like, all the time.
Yeah.
Throughout history and in so many different cultures, it really makes you think
Yeah.
about that, like, deep human desire for a purpose.
Totally. Yeah. Beyond the everyday. Right.
Right, exactly.
So this article kicks off by talking about energetic perception.
Okay.
This heightened sensitivity chosen ones supposedly have to the energies and emotions around them.
Interesting.
Almost like walking into a room and instantly knowing the vibe,
Ooh.
you know?
Yeah. It's like they're tuning into frequencies that most of us miss.
Right.
Totally. Think of it this way. Have you ever walked into a place and felt uneasy,
Mm-hmm.
even though nothing seemed off logically?
Yeah.
Maybe your body tensed up or you suddenly felt anxious.
Yeah.
That could be you picking up on subtle cues,
Right.
what some people might call, bad vibes.
Totally. Oh, absolutely. I've always been super sensitive to that kind of thing. Like, once I was visiting a friend
Yeah.
at their new apartment, and I just felt this overwhelming sense of sadness when I walked in.
Really?
Turns out the previous tenant had passed away there.
Oh, wow.
So spooky,
Oh,
right?
is it a bit eerie? Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
But instead of jumping to the supernatural, what if we consider the science?
Okay.
I mean, there's research suggesting our brains pick up on micro-expressions,
Uh-huh.
body language, even pheromones that we're not consciously aware of.
Right?
Maybe chosen ones are simply more attuned to these subtle signals.
Mm. So it's not necessarily about magic,
Right.
but about having like a finely turned sense of perception.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Though it's worth noting that this sensitivity can be a double-edged sword, I think.
Right.
If you're constantly bombarded with everyone's emotions,
Yeah.
it can be incredibly draining.
That's so true.
Yeah.
It's like being an emotional sponge, soaking it all up.
Exactly.
Yeah. The article actually mentions this next,
Yeah.
talking about unconscious healing. Apparently, chosen ones are great at soothing others, but struggle to heal themselves.
Oh, interesting. This reminds me of the classic giver archetype.
Yeah.
They pour their energy into others, leaving little for themselves.
Yeah.
Does this ring true for you at all?
Yeah.
Think about how you respond in social situations. Are you the one always offering advice, a shoulder to cry on?
Hmm.
Do you find it easier to care for others than to receive care yourself?
You know, that's something I've been working on, honestly.
Yeah.
For a long time, I was the go-to person for everyone's problems.
Mm-hmm.
But it was also exhausting. You
Mhm.
know, I had to learn to set boundaries and prioritize my own well-being.
And that's a vital lesson for anyone, whether they identify with the chosen one label or not.
Yeah,
Boundaries are essential for maintaining energetic balance.
definitely. The article even goes so far as to say that animals are drawn to a chosen one's energy.
Oh, wow.
Like they can sense that calming, healing presence.
That raises some fascinating questions.
Yeah,
I mean, animals are incredibly sensitive creatures.
right.
We know they can detect changes in our heart rate, our breathing, even our mood.
Yeah.
Perhaps they're picking up on these subtle energetic shifts that we're less attuned to.
Makes you wonder what else we might be missing, right?
Totally.
Okay, moving on to the third trait, seeing beyond the surface.
Okay.
The article claims chosen ones can spot potential in others
Uh-huh.
and notice patterns in the universe that others miss. Like they're seeing a bigger picture.
Interesting. This can tie into concepts like synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences
Mm-hmm.
that seem to guide us.
Yeah.
Do you believe in signs?
Mm-hmm.
In those moments where everything seems to align?
Yeah.
Or perhaps you've experienced moments of clarity, seeing a situation with a fresh perspective.
Oh, yeah.
That helped you make a decision.
I've definitely had those aha moments where everything clicks.
Right.
But sometimes seeing things differently can also be isolating, right?
Yeah.
The article mentions that chosen ones often feel misunderstood because of their unique perspective.
It's natural to feel frustrated when others don't see what you see, especially if it's something you're passionate about.
Totally.
But consider this. Maybe it's not about convincing others, but about trusting your own vision.
That's a good point. It's about owning your insights, even if they're not universally accepted.
Exactly. And sometimes The most profound insights come from moments of solitude,
Right.
which leads us to the next trait. The article explores the experience of loneliness. Welcome back.
Yeah.
We left off talking about loneliness, which this article paints as a common experience for chosen ones.
Right.
They suggest that this feeling stems from having a unique perspective
Hmm.
and often, sensing things more intensely than others.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's like you're seeing the world through a different lens, but it's also kind of a bummer, right? Who wants to feel isolated all the time?
Right. It's definitely a challenge. But what if we shift our perspective a bit?
Yeah.
Think about, like, famous innovators,
Okay.
artists, or even spiritual leaders throughout history. Many of them spent considerable time in solitude,
Right.
using those periods to connect with their inner voice, to cultivate their ideas. Maybe loneliness, when viewed through a different lens, can become a catalyst
Okay.
for creativity and self-discovery.
So instead of dreading those moments of solitude, we can actually learn to embrace them.
Exactly. Think of it as a time to recharge, to reconnect with your intuition.
Right. Okay.
And speaking of intensity, the article also highlights that chosen ones often experience emotions on a deeper level. They call it intensity as fuel.
That's interesting. Yeah, I can definitely relate to feeling things deeply, but I've also been told I'm too sensitive or dramatic.
Yeah.
It can be hard to know how to manage that intensity sometimes.
Absolutely. Society often tells us to suppress our emotions, to tone it down.
Right.
But what if that intensity is actually a source of strength?
Okay, yeah.
Think of the passion that drives artists, the empathy that fuels activists, the unwavering commitment of those who fight for what they believe in.
Right.
That all stems from feeling deeply.
So how do we learn to channel that intensity in a healthy way? Because let's be real, sometimes it can feel overwhelming.
The article suggests that one way to harness that energy is to find a creative outlet.
Okay.
Whether it's writing, painting, dancing, or even something like gardening, expressing yourself
Right.
allows that intensity to flow freely rather than becoming bottled up inside.
That's a great point, yeah. It's about finding a way to release that energy in a constructive way. And speaking of challenges, the article then goes on to discuss the idea of transforming pain into wisdom.
Ah, yes. This is where we get into the hero's journey territory.
Right.
The article suggests chosen ones often go through intense challenges and hardships,
Right.
but they emerge from these trials with profound wisdom and resilience.
So it's like those experiences, even the painful ones, become valuable lessons
Yeah,
that shaped their path.
exactly. It's about finding the meaning, the growth, the deeper understanding that emerges from facing adversity.
Okay.
Think about it this way. Have you ever gone through a difficult experience that completely changed your perspective?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was a loss, a setback, or even a period of uncertainty that forced you to reevaluate your priorities.
Absolutely, yeah. I went through a major career change a few years ago that was incredibly challenging, but it ultimately led me to a path that feels much more aligned with my values.
That's a perfect example of how pain can be a catalyst for transformation.
Okay.
And the article emphasizes that it's not about denying or suppressing those difficult emotions, but about learning to integrate them into our understanding of ourselves and the world.
So it's about embracing the full spectrum of human experience, both the light and the dark.
Precisely. And the article suggests that by owning our stories, even the messy parts, we become more compassionate and understanding of others.
Okay.
We can then use those experiences to guide and support those who are going through their own challenges.
Okay, so we've talked about sensitivity, healing, seeing the bigger picture, loneliness, intensity, and transforming pain. It's quite a journey.
It is.
But the article also emphasizes that there's something even deeper at play here.
Yeah?
Something that connects all these traits together.
You're talking about the connection to the divine.
Yeah, exactly.
Identity.
The article describes it as an inherent awareness of a higher power or spiritual force.
Right.
Yes, it's like this underlying sense that we're not alone in the universe,
Yeah.
that there's something guiding and supporting us even when we can't see it.
And this connection can manifest in many different ways.
Right.
For some, it might be a belief in a specific deity or religious tradition.
Mm-hmm.
For others, it might be a sense of oneness with nature, a feeling of interconnectedness with all living things.
Yeah.
And for some, it might simply be a deep inner knowing that there's something more to life than meets the eye.
I like how you frame it as a personal experience, not tied to any specific belief system. It's about that inner compass,
Right.
that sense of being guided by something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly.
But what does that actually look like in practice? How do we nurture that connection and let it guide our lives?
Well, that's where the article delves into the concept of purpose and mastery.
Uh,
It's no longer just about these interesting traits,
okay.
but what you do with them.
Okay, yeah, we're back. And I'm really excited to delve into this idea of purpose and mastery. It feels like we've been building up to this, you know?
Right.
Like all those chosen one traits we've been discussing are pointing towards something bigger.
You're picking up on a key point here. It's not enough to just like have these gifts or sensitivities.
Mhm.
The article argues that chosen ones are meant to use them
Okay.
to contribute something meaningful to the world.
So it's not about being special for the sake of being special,
Right.
but about like having a responsibility
Yeah.
to use your gifts for a greater purpose.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like being given a set of tools and being told, go build something incredible.
Right.
But the article acknowledges this can be daunting.
Yeah.
How do you know what to build? Where
Yeah.
do you even begin?
Right. It can feel overwhelming. Like, okay, universe, I'm here. Now what?
Right.
Does the article offer any guidance on how to actually find your purpose?
It does. It suggests we look to those moments in our lives where we felt truly alive, energized, and aligned with something bigger than ourselves.
Okay.
What were you doing in those moments? What passions were ignited?
That's a good question. I think back to when I was younger, volunteering at an animal shelter. I felt so much joy connecting with those animals, caring for them. It wasn't always easy, but it felt incredibly meaningful.
That's a beautiful example. And notice how you didn't say, I was destined to be the world's greatest veterinarian.
Right.
Purpose isn't always about grand achievements or titles.
Right.
It's about how your actions align with your values, your passions, your natural gifts.
So it's not about finding the one perfect purpose, but about following those threads of passion and seeing where they lead.
Exactly. The article emphasizes that it's a journey, not a destination. It's about being willing to explore, to experiment, to step outside your comfort zone and see what unfolds.
That resonates with me, but it also brings up some fear. What if I take a wrong turn? What if I fail?
That's where the concept of mastery comes in.
Okay.
The article defines mastery not as perfection, but as a commitment to continuous learning and growth.
Right.
It's about showing up even when it's hard, even when you doubt yourself.
It's about embracing the journey with all its twists and turns, about trusting that the mistakes are just as valuable as the successes.
Precisely. And as you continue to show up and hone your skills, you start to trust your intuition more. Remember, we talked earlier about chosen ones having a heightened sensitivity to energy and emotions. The article suggests that this sensitivity can also be a powerful inner compass.
So it's about learning to listen to that inner voice, that gut feeling that tells us when we're on the right track or when we need to course correct.
Exactly. And here's the really exciting part. As you embrace your purpose and hone your mastery, your energy, your very presence start to impact the world around you.
So it's not just about the actions you take,
Right.
but about the kind of person you become.
Yes. The article suggests that chosen ones have a ripple effect, inspiring others simply by being their authentic selves.
Okay.
Think about the people you admire, the ones who radiate a sense of purpose and passion. Their energy is contagious, isn't it?
It's true. Their enthusiasm makes you want to step up and do something amazing, too. I'm also curious, though, does the article address the potential downsides
Yeah.
of this, like, chosen one idea?
Yeah.
It could easily become an ego trap, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The article acknowledges that there's a danger in getting caught up in feeling special or superior.
Yeah.
It emphasizes that true purpose is about service, not self-aggrandizement.
So it's about using your gifts to make a positive impact on the world,
Right.
not to boost your own ego.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that everyone has their own unique path and purpose.
Right.
It's not about comparing yourself to others or trying to fit into someone else's mold.
That's a great point. It's about finding your own way to shine, to contribute your own unique gifts to the world.
And that brings us back to the core message of this article and, really, this entire deep dive.
Yeah.
Whether or not the chosen one label resonates with you,
Right.
the qualities we've discussed, empathy, resilience, a connection to something greater, the willingness to step into your purpose, these are all things we can cultivate, regardless of how we label ourselves.
I love that. It's a reminder that we all have the potential to make a difference. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought. What aspect of this chosen one concept resonated most with you? Is there a spark of purpose that's been ignited? A gift you're ready to explore? A challenge you're willing to face?
Remember, the journey of self-discovery is ongoing. Trust your intuition, embrace your unique path, and know that you have the power to create a life that's both meaningful and fulfilling. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
And until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and keep shining your light.